Hey guys, welcome back to Ryan's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail, and today's case doesn't have a lot of information, so I'm going to try and present it to you the best way I can. And I just feel like this case was sort of overstepped by the media. I don't feel it got necessary attention the way it deserved, and we are going to be going up to the Crothers Woods Trail, which is in the Toronto, Canada area. And today we are going to be talking about Stella Wong, who disappeared on Monday, December 23rd of 2018. Now, Stella was 45 years old at the time, and she was last seen around 7 p.m. on December 23rd of 2018, and she was on this trail. And it's near the Redway Road in the East York area of Toronto, Canada, and she had been hiking with a friend, and for whatever reason, we still don't know, but she got separated from her friend, and that was when she vanished. Stella vanished from the world, and it's always frustrating. I know everyone's always looking for answers or trying to understand why sometimes people get separated, but it can be for a number of reasons. Sometimes people will go off to use the bathroom, stop to tie their shoe. Stella was a Asian woman. She was 5'5", black hair, slim build. She was wearing a purple coat at the time, black leggings, and brown boots, and she was familiar with the outdoors. She was a biker. She loved to hike, and she just had a love for life and a zest for getting out onto trail and doing these kinds of things. We do know that Stella and her friend, they had left their cars at the Loblaws parking lot on Redway Road before they started out on trail, and they were both on foot. According to the weather at the time, it was below 32 degrees overnight on the 23rd, so it was cold, and obviously that always can produce problems if you're not prepared. Now, there is a short distance from where the Crothers Woods trailhead is, Loblaws parking lot. The trail is often used by hikers and bikers. It's very, very well marked, and it just takes you through these beautiful forests and open spaces, and it's just in a beautiful area, and it is adjacent to these two river points on the Don River. This area known as Don Valley or Crothers Woods, and apparently at this point it was pitch black. And as the information goes, there was no further detail how they got separated or the nature, but immediately, of course, started a search, and police obviously sent out some of their best teams. It was considered a level 3 search, which is the highest level of concern. They brought in additional officers and resources, all different types of crews from the area and local resources, and being close to Toronto, they did have a lot of resources they could bring in. The Toronto police conducted a very high-level search with the help of drones, canine teams. They had a specialist come in that was a specialist in tracking. And here is where it all starts getting very bizarre, because in this particular case, it wasn't long until they found the remains. The next day, around 9 a.m., there was remains located near the Don River by one of the police search and rescue teams. Detective Anthony Paoletta said that his uniformed officers located the remains of a female, which they believed at the time was Stella Wong. Now, according to this detective, he said that there were no indications of trauma. There was no indications that would say that maybe foul play would be to be considered. But like always in many cases like this, her family was adamant, and one of her longtime friends, Ian Weil, told CTV News that something isn't right. She was part of a mountain biking group. She knew the trails in the area very well. She'd come here all the time. She had parked in the very same spot all the time, and she would ride these trails all the time. And everyone who knew her just felt that there was an oddity about this. And at the time, we didn't know what the manner of death was. It wasn't until later that the autopsy was done that they later found out that she had drowned, which of course made no sense to people, and of course even upset her friends and family more. And rightfully so. I mean, here's an area that she had been hiking and biking in for years. She knew the area. How all of a sudden did she just end up in this body of water? And then other questions arose too. Why were the two hiking so late on that December 23rd? I do know that she was hiking with a male companion. That's all I do know. I don't know any further information on that. I don't know how they ended up becoming separated. These are all questions that, of course, her friends and families and investigators asked. The main question, obviously, is how did Stella end up getting lost and drowning in an area that she had been hiking and adventuring in for years? It just doesn't make any sense. I mean, yes, there's the possibility that, she possibly just fell into the water, but she was known to know how to swim, so why couldn't she have gotten out? Now, again, the temperatures were right around freezing that night, and of course they got colder as the night progressed, but it's still, there's just so many unanswered questions, and I don't feel that this case got enough media attention and enough police investigation, because I do know that her companion that she was hiking with before she got separated with, he was questioned, and he stated that Stella was last seen around 7 p.m. at the Crothers Woods Trail near Redway Road, and after they investigated him further, they found that he had no involvement, or at least that's what their conclusion was. These people go out for this hike at 7 p.m. at night. Why would you go out so late? And I don't understand, if you're going out on a hike like that and you're with somebody that you know and care about, or even if it was just a perfect stranger, a nighttime hiking takes extra vigilance, and I just don't understand why this person wasn't more concerned when they got separated at the time that they did. And again, I'm not pointing fingers at anybody. This could just be a tragic accident, but a lot of people think it makes no sense, especially the people that know Stella, who knew her, who loved her, who had known her for years, who knew her intelligence about that area, who knew her abilities. Her friend Ian, who was interviewed by the police, who wasn't even there, he said, obviously he was just heartbroken, and he just couldn't imagine how this could have happened, because he knew Stella and he was a lifelong friend. And of course, the fact that this happened around Christmas time was even more devastating for him and the families. And he said that, but they've been out on these trail systems for years, and he had ridden with her, and she was the nicest person in the world, and they just didn't understand how she could just ride into the river or just fall into the river, and then why wouldn't she just get out? None of it seemed to make any sense. And it seemed that from the investigator standpoint of view, once the coroner released his findings as accidental drowning, that was the end of the investigation. And look, I know that that's just how things work. I know that that's how the system works, and once the medical examiner makes his determination, the police obviously aren't going to do an investigation if it's ruled an accidental drowning. What people and all her loved ones and friends and people who knew her want to know is, how did she accidentally just walk into this body of water? Because if you look at these pictures, there's a lot of guard railings and there's a lot of pathways and walkways. The trails are very well marked. Granted, yes, it was nighttime, but she was said to have a headlamp, proper gear, that kind of thing. And it just kind of is, it's bizarre that a woman of this stature that knew this place like the back of her head would just accidentally fall into the water. Not only that, why wouldn't she have yelled for help or screamed for help if she was in trouble? If she had fallen in the water, that would be your first, instinct to call for help. This park purportedly, I did do some underground research, and from people on Reddit, like I said, there's not a lot of information on this case, but some of the investigators that worked this case do believe that something nefarious happened and that it wasn't just a simple slip and fall. But who knows? It just seems that in this case, the people that knew her and knew Stella, they knew that she would have called out for help. She would have tried to signal for something, but there was just none of that. And it just seems like she was just there one minute and gone the next with no explanations or answers for the family. And I can't imagine how heartbreaking that is. And my thoughts and prayers go out to her and all of her family members and friends and everyone who knew her and everyone who is still working on trying to figure this case out. Personally, I think it's sad that when a case gets classified in this way as an accidental drowning or in any other such light, it's unfortunate because there's nobody to investigate the crime. The police aren't going to go after it. They're not going to try and do anything further. And I think in Stella Wong's case, she deserves that. I think we deserve to know what happened to her, to know for her and her family, not just us. I mean, her family is the most important, and her loved ones. And I know that they're just dying to know what happened to her on this tragic day. And I'm hoping one day that she will be able to get that closure and find justice for her. My thoughts and prayers go out to her, her friends, her family, everyone who's working on this case. And I just hope that one day we will know what happened to Stella Wong. Maybe it was just a tragic accident, and maybe that's just it. But there's a lot of weird things in this case that don't add up. And hopefully one day we will find the real answer. Of course, I want to dedicate this video to Stella Wong, her friends, her family, all her loved ones, all the investigators that have tried to bring her case to justice, and everyone who is still trying to bring her case to justice, and everyone who still remembers her in their hearts, and just wishing that you will find peace soon, and hoping we can bring Stella some closure. I want to thank everybody for watching as always, and please be respectful in the comments if you choose to leave them. Special thank you to co.ag for providing the background music, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Take care. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me to the end as always, and I appreciate you sticking with me with still struggling with my voice. And I do have a few calendars left, but just know if you order and you are abroad, like say for example in England or somewhere, the shipping is going to be a lot more. Now I did just get an order for someone that ordered a calendar in England. I'm going to ship that out. But just for the information, I'll have that in the description. And if you guys have any questions, just let me know. And looking forward to seeing everyone in the next one. And I just wanted to give a shout out to my friend Phoebe, who is living in New York and is going through a lot right now. She's a dear friend of mine. I'm friends with her whole family, and she's been going through a lot. And I just wanted to send her out a great shout out and think that she's doing great, and hoping her all the best and success in her career in New York City. And to my dear friend Ashley, who has been so sick lately, just wishing you a speedy recovery and wishing you all the best. And thank you guys again. See you next time.